welcome back for a second mini lesson. This time we're going to take a look at a movement from a vocal piece I composed called Contemplations. The whole piece is in 5 movements and it's scored for soprano voice with flute, cello, and piano. It's filled with nature imagery, such as crickets and grasshoppers jumping around. And rushing rivers.
Under the cooling shadow of a stately elm, close sat I by a goodly river's side, where glides
And every composer loves to use bird songs at some point.
his pretty instrument, and warbling out the old begin anew. And thus they pass their youth in summer season, then follow thee into a better.
But in the 4th movement, the flute and cello don't play, leaving just a song for voice and piano. It sort of needs to be heard in context of the whole piece to get the impact of it. I will link below to the full piece on the video if you'd like to give it a listen and a watch. I will also link to a new CD that the performing ensemble released that includes this piece. So anyway, in the 4th movement, I got a different vibe going than the other movements, using a little harmonic system I devised, expanding on perfect fifths, adding different intervals above them, which you'll see in a minute. It made for a very brooding, searching, expressive kind of color that contrasted with the rest of the piece. One viewer of this piece commented, "Geez, how am I going to go from diatonic triads to this?" Well, this system gave me a way to create some new sounds that I might not have used otherwise. So I based the idea on fifths. I like how Pat Metheny discusses the world of potential and perfect fifths. I've been lucky. I've had a very great life as a musician. But the best part of my life as a musician is that when I hear a B flat and then I hear an F, my brain explodes with a million things that means, or that it can mean, or that it might mean, or that connects that interval to nature, or to the universe, to the world, to the people around me, to the people I love, to the people I don't know. I know musicians who see a beautiful sunset and they go write a tune, or they have this happen or that happen and that inspires them to do this. For me, if I hear this note and then I hear that note, that's enough for me. Within the syntax of that musical exchange, there's a whole universe of potential there, and that's way more than enough for me. Okay, so in doing some sketching with fifths, I came up with an idea that clicked for me, got me moving through this piece. Sometimes I get lucky and one idea can carry me through an entire movement in a way that works for me. I started with 2 fifths, creating quintal harmony, but I wanted to find some new way to use them. That got me thinking, what if I added a half step above each pitch? I don't know what this chord is, but it sure is interesting. What if I make them major seconds? Okay, that's just a displaced major pentatonic scale. So is there a way to categorize or label a chord like the first one compared to the second one? A famous 20th century harmony book by Persichetti gives one way. You might want to check this book out if you haven't already. And while you're at it, pick up Eulalia's book too. They are pretty famous 20th century harmony books. So Persichetti would look at this chord and want to find some way to analyze it. An idea in his book is to tally up all the intervals found in the chord and then assess how consonant or dissonant or open it would sound. It is an interesting way to evaluate some chords that defy traditional tertian labels. In looking at the intervals, we will probably hear any minor seconds we find and its inversion, the major seventh, as being sharply dissonant intervals. All of this is a bit subjective. It of course depends on the context of the harmony, the voicing, its surroundings, the orchestration of it, and lots of other things. But it's a good place to start. We can expect major seconds and its inversion, the minor seventh, to be mildly dissonant. Here's the sharp dissonance. Here's the mild dissonance, or as sevenths. Sharp, mild. Really, all thirds and sixths can be thought of as being consonant. Thirds and sixths. Fourths, fifths, and octaves are traditionally all open intervals. Fourths, fifths, octaves. The fourth is debatable in different studies. Some say that the fourth is dissonant when it is in consonant surroundings, and it's consonant when it's in dissonant surroundings. Again, it does depend on context, but I think of quartal harmony and quintal harmony as both being open. The tritone is the restless interval usually, although in some music it is more neutral, like in this piece by Scriabin, where every measure has tritones in different keys. So context is key. To tally up my intervals, I need to look at all of the intervals between every note. So I'll start with the bass note G. Above the G I have a minor second, a perfect fifth, a minor sixth, a major ninth or a major second, a minor tenth or a minor third. But then above the A flat I have a tritone, a perfect fifth, a minor second, and a major second. Then above the D I have a minor second, a perfect fifth, a minor sixth, and so on. You just start from each note from the bottom up and look at all the intervals that are above each note, and you get a count of all the intervals in the chord. So my sharply dissonant intervals, I have 4 of those in this chord. I have 2 mild dissonances. I have 2 consonances. I have 4 open intervals and 2 restless tritones. To compare that to the pentatonic chord, you might guess how this is going to go. Look at all the intervals in this chord. Every one of them is major and perfect. So there's no sharp dissonances at all. There's 5 mild dissonances, 3 consonances, 7 open intervals, and no restless tritones. So here's a comparison of the two. 4 sharp dissonances in this, as compared to no sharp dissonances in that. 2 mild dissonances in this, and 5 mild dissonances in this, and so on. So just looking at the 2 chords, you can see 4 sharp dissonances really makes a big difference between those 2 sounds. So there is one way that a theorist suggests analyzing or assessing harmony that doesn't fit into a neat box. Kind of interesting. You can comment about that below if you'd like. Let's move quickly through the other possible chords that I can make using this system. If I do minor thirds above each note, that just makes a G minor 11. How about if I do major thirds above each note? It makes for a G major 9 sharp 11. Perfect fourths makes a G suspended chord with a second added. Tritones, that's going to be another sort of mystery chord. No simple name for that one. We could go through and add up all the intervals if we wanted to. Feel free to do that if you're interested. What if I do perfect fifths? Now I'm going to have a repeated note and just get quintal harmony. I don't think I used that one in my piece. Now I'm going to go beyond the fifth. I'm going to do a minor sixth and come down to the next note. So I like that sound. It all comes from G natural minor, G Aeolian. What if I do major sixth? G major 13, minor sevenths, makes a G9 suspended. Major sevenths. Kind of a mystery. It kind of starts off seeming like it's in G Lydian, but then there's a G sharp on top. I'm not going to try to come up with a name for that. Then that got me to thinking, what if in my piece I descend half steps? Very mysterious. I love the way that sounds. It's actually just the inversion of the major sevenths that were above in the previous chord. If I do major seconds, it'll be the inversion of the minor sevenths above. Same notes. But because there's an F in the bottom, that kind of sounds like an F6-9 to me. Minor thirds, E minor 11, and major thirds, E flat major 9 sharp 11, Lydian sound. All of that said, now it came time to compose my piece. How a composer puts together a piece with the kind of continuity that they want is a bit of a mystery, relying on intuition and dramatic pacing that sort of defies analysis. I spent a lot of time simply listening to music and being carried away into the worlds of my favorite composers, and I try to make my own journey as I'm composing, pacing things in a way that will hopefully bring the listener along. Debussy is reported to have said, "When I compose music, I think of all the music I know and I leave out what I don't like." I think that says it pretty well for us composers, yeah? We're trying to make our own journey by pushing sounds around in a way that we find beautiful and interesting, standing on the shoulders of our heroes who came before us. I did have a text that I was setting, so I wanted to hit a few marks in terms of the drama of the words, which in this case involves the fall of mankind in the Garden of Eden, a very light subject. This is essentially a little dramatic picture using Anne Bradstreet's beautiful words.
Sometimes in Eden, fair he seems to be. See glorious Adam there made Lord of all. Fancies the apple dangle on the tree that turned his sovereign to a naked throne.
Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you in some way. Maybe gave you some ideas of how to freely push around some intervals in your composing. I'll see you all next time, so have a good one. Bye-bye.